Back to politics now, and some brand new polls showing it could be a close race between the president and Mitt Romney. The latest numbers from the Wall Street Journal and NBC News show the president with a 6-point lead. Real Clear Politics averages all the polls, and they're showing an even tighter race, with the president edging out Governor Romney by about 3 points. Matt Schlapp is a former White House political director under President George W. Bush. Ryan Clayton is a Democratic campaign consultant, founder of 100proofpolitics.com. Guys, thanks very much for both of you. Appreciate you coming on. And Matt, what do polls mean at this stage of the game?
Really very little. I mean, if I were sitting in Mitt Romney's shoes after this kind of tough primary he's been through, the fact that the Real Clear Politics average shows him within 3 points, that's really good news. But nobody should focus too much on these polls. They got to put their plan together for the general election. They got to win these tough battleground states. The key number is Obama's Gallup approval, which has been consistently under 50 throughout the year. If he stays there, and the number one issue remains the economy, and there's concern over Obama's economic policies, Mitt Romney is going to win this race.
Ryan, Matt just mentioned the primary, of course. Mitt Romney only just within the last week or so clearly becoming the presumptive Republican nominee. But up until now, he's been getting bashed by the likes of Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich, and you can go down the whole list. So when we take a look at his favorability numbers, and we could put them up real fast, this is for Governor Romney, will show, pretty high unfavorables, but this might not be the best time to be measuring that number. Don't you think, Ryan?
Well, you know, Mitt Romney is Bob Dole all over again. He's got no personality, no charisma, and no chance at winning the presidency. In every major poll, he's losing to President Obama, hands down. You know, and the presidency is kind of like a race to see who's most popular. It's like a popularity contest for the leader of the free world. And unfortunately for Mitt Romney, he's just not a very likable guy. You know, I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Rick Santorum. Mitt Romney can't beat Obama, and he'll never sit in the office of the United States presidency.
Matt, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think if you're a political consultant, you would agree with me that numbers before the summer has even started mean very little in a race. And if you don't think the Gallup polling organization is a significant enough firm that showed that Romney was in the lead just in its last iteration, I invite you to look at it again. I mean, this race is definitely in play. Mitt Romney, although behind in almost all polls throughout the year, is sitting in a position, once again, where if he can make his economic message, which is the number one issue in what this race will be about, he can win this thing.
Well, what's more
Ryan, hold on, Ryan. Let me jump in here because there were polls that were put out this week by the New York Times and CBS News that showed that when it comes to the economy, Americans tend to think that Mitt Romney is the one with better ideas, better solutions for the economic situation. But the number one thing that jumped out at me, Ryan, was the poll that asked people about the right track, wrong track. 60% of Americans thought the country was on the wrong track. Ryan, the president doesn't win a second term if that number doesn't change.
Yeah, well, the president's pretty much got a second term locked up with Mitt Romney being the candidate because Mitt Romney has real problems. You know, he essentially test marketed Obamacare in Massachusetts, and the Tea Party is never going to forgive him for that. And also, as governor, his state ranked 47th in job creation. As a businessman, Mitt Romney made his life's worth, made his money closing down factories and venture capitalist-style financial gambling. You know, Americans who are sick of Wall Street speculators and tired of politicians who don't care about jobs will never vote for Mitt Romney.
All right, let's move away from the talking points, gentlemen, for a second. And Matt, let me ask you about Orrin Hatch, who today found out that he now has to face a challenger in a primary if he wants to keep his seat as the longtime senator from the state of Utah. What's your takeaway there?
Well, this convention process in Utah is very tricky for incumbents, and they've tripped up several incumbents, including the previous Senator Bob Bennett from Utah, a sitting congressman. So this has happened over and over again. The fact that Orrin Hatch nearly got to the 60% threshold, which would have put him in a stronger position and not put him in a runoff position, is really a great testament to his organization and what they did. They had a rather novel and unique approach to targeting these convention goers. So I actually think some folks would look at this and say, boy, Orrin Hatch came close to getting to the number he wanted. To get 59.2%, that's a banner day for him.
Ryan, I want to switch gears and ask you about some news today that the U.S. is being asked, and Canada and other non-European countries, to kick in more money to the International Monetary Fund to help out countries in Europe. And the United States and Canada saying no. that there are wealthy countries in Europe. They can afford to do more than they're doing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, I think the U.S. Congress is highly unlikely to approve additional funding for the International Monetary Fund because we've got our own economic problems here at home. We've got a foreclosure epidemic. We've got an unemployment emergency. There's tons of people out of work and underemployed. And we should really focus on fixing those problems here at home. But I think we should look at the global financial panic as a warning sign about this radical right-wing experiment of trickle-down economics, which has proved to be a complete failure. We can't just simply keep funneling money up to the top 1% and starving the government of revenue in order to benefit the world's wealthiest individuals. That's not a way to run an economy. It's not a way to run a country. And if we keep doing that, we're going to have civil unrest worldwide. And if we don't want to see that here in America, then we need to make the wealthiest pay their fair share too, just like the rest of us do.
Matt, I'll give you the last word. You can respond to that, or you can talk about Europe, whatever you want.
Yeah, Europe has tried big government programs, centralized authority, one currency. They passed cap and trade, which was foolish, and now their debt has grown so big it's unsustainable. The problem for America is its debt is so big we have no money to help them. They're going to have to find their way out of this problem by selling industries that are currently operated by the government, sell them to private investors, including those in America. But we got to find a new way to get out of this, and it's called no more spending, rip up the credit cards.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Matt Schlapp and Ryan Clayton. Good discussion. We'll have you both on again real soon. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.